Sairam students, welcome back. Today let us continue to learn history lesson number 4, what books and burials tell us. Children, in a previous class we had learnt about one of the oldest books in the world and about Sanskrit and other languages. Now let us quickly recap what we had learnt in these topics. We had learnt about the 4 Vedas. What are the names of the 4 Vedas? Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda and Atharva Veda. And one of the oldest books in the world is Rig Veda. That is, it is the oldest Veda composed about 3500 years ago. And it includes more than 1000 hymns called Sukta or well said. And these hymns, they were in praise of various gods and goddesses, and especially 3 gods were important. Who were they? Agni, the god of fire, Indra, a warrior god, and Soma, a plant from which a special drink was prepared. And the Rig Veda is in old and Vedic Sanskrit, and it was recited and heard rather than read. It was written down several centuries after it was first composed and printed less than 200 years ago. And we had learnt about Sanskrit and other languages, that is Sanskrit, Assamese, Gujarati, Hindi, Kashmiri, Sindhi, Persian, English, French, German, Greek, Italian and Spanish. All these languages, they belong to Indo-European family of languages, and other languages used in the subcontinent, they belong to different families. For example, those used in the northeast, they belong to the Tibeto-Burman family, and Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam, they belong to the Dravidian family. The languages spoken in Jharkhand and parts of central India, they belong to the Austroasiatic family. Today, let us learn about how historians study the Rig Veda, and about cattle, horses and chariots, and the words to describe people, and also about silent sentinels, that is the story of the megaliths. Now let us learn how historians study the Rig Veda. We know that the historians, like the archaeologists, what do? They find out about the past. How do they find out about the past? They find out about the past by the material remains. We know that they dig the surface of the earth and they find out different things out of it, isn't it? And they also examine the written sources. That is, we have learnt about the manuscripts and the inscriptions. So all these things, they help the archaeologists to know about the past. Now let us see how they study the Rig Veda. Some of the hymns in the Rig Veda, they are in the form of dialogues. Now let us see one such hymn, that is a dialogue between a sage named Vishwamitra and 2 rivers. Which are the 2 rivers? Vyas and Satluj, that were worshipped as goddesses. Here we can see a page from a manuscript of the Rig Veda. This manuscript of the Rig Veda is written on the birch bark, which was found in Kashmir, and about 150 years ago it was used to prepare one of the earliest printed texts of the Rig Veda, as well as an English translation. Now it is preserved in a library in Pune, which is in Maharashtra. Here we can see the dialogues between Vishwamitra and the rivers. Vishwamitra, he is comparing the rivers with the 2 swift horses and the 2 shining cows that lick their calves. That is, they are coming down from the mountains. And he says that you move like the chariots to the sea with the power of Indra, and you are full of water and you wish to unite with one another. The rivers, in turn, they say that Yes, we are full of water and we are moving along the path that the gods have made for us. And once when we start flowing, we cannot be stopped. And why are you praying to us, O sage? Then Vishwamitra he says, O sisters, please listen to me, the singer who has come from a distance with his chariots and carts. So let your waters not rise above the axles, so that we can cross safely. The rivers, they say that we will listen to your prayers, so that you can cross safely. Now here the historians, they point out that this hymn was composed in the area where these rivers flow. Which rivers? Beas and Satluj. And they also suggest that the sage, he lived in a society where horses and cows, they were valued animals, and that is why the rivers, they are compared to the horses and cows. Which were the animals that were valued at that time? Horses and cows. That is why the rivers, they are compared to horses and the cows. And other rivers, especially the Indus and its other tributaries, and the Saraswati, they are also named in the hymns that are given in the Rig Veda. The Ganga and Yamuna, they are named only once in it. Now let us learn about cattle, horses and chariots. You know children, there are many prayers in the Rig Veda for cattle and for children, especially for the sons, and horses. You know horses, they were yoked to the chariots. You all have seen chariot, isn't it? That were used in the battles. And why were the battles fought? The battles were fought to capture cattle. And the battles were also fought for land. Why? Because they needed the land for pasture, that is for growing the hardy crops which ripened quickly, such as barley. And some battles were fought for water and also to capture people. So why were the battles fought? The battles were fought for cattle, land, water and to capture people. And during that time, some of the wealth that was obtained was kept by the leaders. Some was given to the priests and the rest was distributed amongst the people. And some of the wealth was used for the performance of the yagyas or the sacrifices, in which offerings were made into the fire. These offerings were meant for gods and goddesses. So what did they do with the wealth that was obtained? Some of the wealth that was obtained, they kept for the leaders, and some was given to the priests, and the rest was distributed amongst the people. And some wealth was also used for the performance of yagyas or sacrifices, in which offerings were made. For whom were these offerings meant for? These offerings were meant for gods and goddesses. And the offerings, they could include ghee, grain and in some cases animals. So in this way they utilized the wealth that was obtained by them. And who used to take part in these wars? Most men, they used to take part in these wars. And there was no regular army. Then what did they do? They used to have assemblies where people met and they discussed the matters of war and peace. And they also chose leaders who were often brave and skillful warriors. Children, now let us learn the next topic, words to describe people. You know that there are several ways of describing people. That is, by the work they do, the language they speak, the place they belong to, their families, communities and cultural practices. Now let us see some of the words that were used to describe people found in the Rig Veda. There are two groups who are described in terms of their work. First, priests. You know children, the priests sometimes they are called as Brahmins. who perform various rituals. And the second are the Rajas. These Rajas, they did not have the capital cities. Children, you know that the kings, they have the huge kingdoms. They have the armies, isn't it? But these Rajas that were mentioned in the Rig Veda, they did not have capital cities, palaces or armies, nor did they collect taxes. And the sons, they also did not automatically succeed fathers as Rajas. That means after the kings, their sons, they did not take up the kingdom. So these Rajas, they did not have the capital cities, palaces or armies, and they did not collect any taxes. And their sons also, they did not become Rajas. And two words were used to describe the people or the community as a whole. That is, the common people. They were called as Jana or Vish. Children, you have heard about Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, isn't it? So, the word Vaishya comes from Vish. And later they were also referred as Purujana, Bharatajana, Yadujana and so on. So, how many words were used to describe the people? Two words. What were they? Jana and Vish. And children, do you know, sometimes the people who composed the hymns, they described themselves as Aryas and they called their opponents as Dasas or Dasyus. And these people, they did not perform sacrifices and probably spoke different languages. So, who were the Aryas and the Dasas? The people who composed the hymns described themselves as Aryas and they called their opponents as Dasas or Dasyus. Children, do you know the meaning of slave? Yes, the slave means a person who is captured and is forced to obey the masters. So, later the term Dasa and Dasi, they were meant as slaves. And who were these slaves? These slaves were the women and the men who were often captured in war. And how were they treated? They were treated as the property of their owners who could make them do whatever work they wanted. Now let us learn about silent sentinels, the story of the megaliths. Children, if you look at this image, you can see the stone boulders. These stone boulders, they are known as megaliths. Megaliths literally means big stones. And these were carefully arranged by the people. Why were they arranged by the people? Because they were used to mark the burial sites. And the practice of erecting the megaliths, it began about 3000 years ago. How many years ago? About 3000 years ago. And it was prevalent throughout the Deccan, South India, in the northeast and Kashmir. Where was it prevalent? It was prevalent throughout the Deccan, South India, in the northeast and Kashmir. Children, if you look at this image, this type of megalith, it is known as a cist. And some cists have portholes which could be used as an entrance. And some important megalithic sites, they are shown in the map 2 that is given on page 14. Children, do you remember we had learnt about Paleolithic sites, Neolithic sites, megalithic sites, early village and modern cities. So the megalithic sites, they are found in Brahmagiri and Adi Channalur. While some megaliths can be seen on the surface and other megalithic burials, they are often underground. Sometimes the archaeologists, they find a circle of stone boulders or a single large stone standing on the ground. Children, here you can see in the images the circle of the stone boulders or a single large stone standing on the ground. What are these? these are the only indications that there are burials beneath. And there were several things that people did to make megaliths. And all the burials that have been found, they have some common features. That is, generally the dead, they were buried with distinctive pots, which are called black and red ware, and also the tools and weapons of iron, and sometimes skeletons of horses, horse equipment, and ornaments of stone and gold. They are also found on the burial sites. Children, here you can see the images. You can see the iron equipment that was found from the megalithic burials. And on the left top you can see the horse equipment. On the left below you can see the axes, and below you can see a dagger. And to the extreme left you can see the red ware that are found on the burial sites. Now let us do a quick recap of what we have learned today. Today we learnt about how historians study the Rig Veda. That is, the historians like archaeologists, they used to find out the material remains and they examined the written sources. So with the help of written sources, they found out that some of the hymns in the Rig Veda, they are in the form of dialogues. And this is part of one such hymn, that is a dialogue between a sage named Vishwamitra and two rivers, that is Vyas and Satlaj, that were worshipped as goddesses. Here the historians point out that this hymn was composed in the area where these rivers flow, and they also suggest that the sage lived in a society where horses and cows, they were valued animals. That is why the rivers are compared to horses and cows. And above this dialogue we can also see a page from a manuscript of the Rig Veda. And we learned about cattle, horses and chariots. That is, Rig Veda has prayers for cattle and horses. The horses were used in battles, and the battles were fought for cattle, land, people and water. And some of the wealth that was obtained was kept by the leaders. Some was given to the priests and the rest was distributed amongst the people. And some wealth was used for the performance of yagyas or sacrifices. And these offerings, they were made into the fire, which were meant for gods and goddesses. And these offerings could include ghee, grain and in some cases animals. And most men took part in wars, and there was not any regular army. There were assemblies where people met and discussed matters of war and peace. They chose brave and skillful warriors as their leaders. And we learnt about words to describe people. That is, according to the Rig Veda, there are two groups of people in terms of their work. The priests called Brahmins and the Rajas or rulers. The priests, they performed the various rituals while the Rajas ruled. But these Rajas did not have capital cities, palaces or armies, nor did they collect taxes. And the sons, they did not automatically succeed their fathers as Rajas. And the two words that were used to refer to the people or the community as a whole were Jana and Vish. And the people who composed the hymns, they referred themselves using the word Aryas, and they called their opponents Dasas or Dasyus. The Dasas were later slaves and were treated as the property of their owners. And while the Rig Veda was being composed in the northwest of the subcontinent, there were other developments elsewhere. So, we learnt about silent sentinels, the story of the megaliths. That is, megaliths are stone boulders used to mark burial sites, and they were prevalent around 3000 years ago in the Deccan, South India, in the northeast and Kashmir. And some megaliths are seen on surface and some are underground. And sometimes a circle of stone boulders or a single large stone is found standing on the ground, and it indicates that there are burials beneath. And there were several things that people did to make the megaliths. Children, here you can see the list is given over here, and it is not in the correct order. So you have to try and arrange them in the correct order and note it down in your notebooks. And all these burials, they have some common features. That is, generally the dead were buried with distinctive pots, which are called black and red ware, and also sometimes with tools and weapons of iron, horses, horse equipments, and ornaments of stone and gold. Children, I hope the topics that we have learned today are clear to you. We shall learn more about this lesson in our next class. Till we meet again, goodbye and take care.